Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today, coming to you from the Sports Interaction Studio, where we always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. It is all seemingly coming to a head, folks. The winter meetings of 2025, they are scheduled between December 8th, so next Monday, and December 10th, next Wednesday. And according to some of those MLB insiders, they are predicting that a lot of the big names right now, I'm talking Kyle Schwarber, I'm talking King Tuck, I'm talking Bo Bichette, I'm talking Edwin Diaz. A lot of those big names could be off the board imminently once we enter those winter meetings. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the latest with some of those names as it pertains to the Toronto Blue Jays, and just give our overall thoughts as to how active we think this team is going to be between December 8th and December 10th. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button, hit that hype button as well, as it really helps us grow. So where that is coming from is Jon Morosi went onto the MLB network, as he does, and we quoted him saying, both of those signings, Schwarber and Tucker, feel like we're headed towards a winter meeting signing extravaganza a week from today. I know it's marketable, you know.
Yeah.
It feels like the Willy Wonka factory of free agency, but that has been the case in years prior, right? Winter meetings is where all of the dominoes just fucking explode.
Well, think about like 2 years ago was Shohei Ohtani. Last year was Juan Soto. So it feels like that's where everybody comes together and they really get all their heads butting together and they really start cranking out some dollar amounts, some years, and they get contracts
Probably
signed.
get the beers going too. You know, they're in Orlando.
Little loose. We're on vacation, but we're also working. We're living great lives right now. If I'm a GM, executive agent, right? Lots of money flying around. But point being is things are definitely coming. And now also in this Jon Morosi little clip here from MLB Network, like he kind of brings up as well, like, you know, Kyle Tucker could be the leading charge of this whole thing. He's kind of the main domino that's going to set, you know, all these other dominoes off, because it makes sense. He is the big guy on the board. He is the guy who's going to make the most money. And for the Blue Jays, for the longest time, we've been kind of being paired with Tucker or Bo Bichette. And Jon Morosi confirms, like with the Blue Jays, that's what it kind of feels like right now. It's either going to be Tucker or it's going to be Bo Bichette. And that makes sense.
And either or,
right? It's Tucker or it's Bo Bichette.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, we had Bob Nightingale on the show, and we brought that up to him. We saying, is there any reality where we could get both? And at that time, he did say yes, but that was also in a world pre-Dylan C signing. And now post-Dylan C signing, it does feel very unlikely that they could get both.
Because that would be what, $200 million. Let's say Bo gets $200 million, it's $400, and Tuck gets $400, it's $800 million.
You're getting close to $1 billion, and you haven't even addressed the bullpen yet.
I know Edwin Rogers is crazy, man, and he wants to win that World Series, but that would almost be like, my goodness, man, you are a crazy man and getting it done. But point being is, like, expect right now for the winter meetings, like, I would want to see, and I expect to see something happening and developing with Kyle Tucker, because he's got to be the first domino. Everyone's kind of waiting on him, especially Bo Bichette right now.
Yeah, Bo Bichette for sure, because, you know, I was listening to a Shai Davidi piece, where he was coming out and he was speaking on the Bo Bichette stuff. And one of the takes that he's had for a long period of time, and he's actually talked to us about this before, is the fact that he feels that the Blue Jays and Bo need to have a bit of a waiting game and let the market dictate where they're going to be at. And I think that that's true, because walking into this free agency, there was a plethora of articles and tweets and opinions out there about what Bo Bichette should get paid, how long should his contract be, and never once in the history of me doing this show have I seen such varying degrees about what he could get paid or how long or what. We don't even know what fucking defensive position he's going to be.
And that's the thing too. People are like, oh, well, if he's second baseman, he's only going to want this. And then if someone's shorting him the cash and he's going to want opt-outs, and it's like there's so many levels of that. So they have to wait and see what other teams are offering.
Exactly.
Throw those offers to other teams and kind of leverage that and get an actual true value.
And also on top of that, wait and see what some other guys are getting paid. And the biggest name is obviously Kyle Tucker. So it does feel like right now, listening to that, and then also hearing what Jon Morosi saying, where it's like, okay, we are starting to heat up here, and King Tuck feels like a winter meeting signing, which has been true in the past, right? Because that was kind of the big fish of Shohei Ohtani, and in years prior, it's been around that time. You get that guy locked down, and then all of the other dominoes fall. I think that you could see this Toronto Blue Jays free agency, and we've already seen that one kind of big piece to the starting pitcher, but certainly for the rest of it, really shape up and get the roadmap, the blueprint of it within the next 7 days.
Yeah, because like we got Dylan Cease, and that was awesome. That was one of those kind of like, if we're thinking about a tree of what we needed to do, and like, Bo Bichette was the top of like the cream of the crop. Like Bo Bichette or it's Kyle Tucker. Dylan Cease getting that like star pitcher, that was kind of out here. Like you could have made that move and not affect this part of the tree. So like, yeah, that's got to really take shape, because right now we're not really sure. Like, are we in a Kyle Tucker? Are we in a Bo Bichette? It's all going to come to like you said, what do you say? Like,
come to a head, man.
Come to a head right there.
Well, nobody in the that's the thing. Nobody in the hitting side of things is really signed. Nobody notable, anyways. Right?
Nobody other than like Josh Naylor, who just went back to
the Mariners on what was honestly an incredible deal for the Seattle Mariners. The pitching market is a little different though, and you did just see that Devin Williams deal go down with New York, not the New York that I think a lot of people expected him to go to, but the New York Mets stealing him away over there. So maybe that is the first domino there to lead into a Edwin Diaz deal come winter meetings in a week.
Yeah, because that was the big thing that kind of like, it was a big uproar last night when Devin Williams signed with the Mets. Everybody, even including myself, was thinking, oh, okay, well, the Mets, are they moving on from Devin Williams? Well, I mean, from Edwin Diaz? Well, not necessarily. I mean, Devin Williams didn't have a great year last year at all. And honestly, for most of the season, he was kind of being thrown into that setup role, Will you, right? He wasn't really a closer. So just because the Mets went and got Devin Williams doesn't necessarily mean they're moving on from Edwin Diaz. And Anthony DiComo comes in here and says that per source, that means the Mets are still coming in on a Edwin Diaz potential contract. Now, that does open up a little bit though. Like if I am the Mets and, I am moving out of my price range, or like the market's moving out of my price range for an Edwin Diaz, then maybe I'm okay with the fallback plan. Okay, at least we have Devin Williams in there that could step into a closing role. But the Blue Jays, they're no stranger to this market developing. We've been seeing last couple of days. You've already seen Ryan Helsley go to the Orioles. You've been seeing we're in on Pete Fairbanks. Raisel Iglesias went away to the Braves again. So it's like they're in on all these guys. They're just missing. And I would expect the Blue Jays, honestly, my prediction is they're going to make a move in the next coming days for a closer or relief pitcher because the market's moving so fast.
Yeah, and there is only a small handful of the upper echelon individuals right there. Obviously, Edwin Diaz is the tippity top of all of that, but he feels like similar to a King Tuck, kind of like a winter meetings guy. It is all getting to a point right now where some of the options for him are disappearing, and I think that you're going to see him make a decision relatively soon. Now, to all those people thinking, oh, it's great news that the Mets got Devin Williams, for me, it doesn't change that much because, well, whilst you might have kind of taken one New York team out, you honestly might have just ignited another New York team to go and get Edwin Diaz and to go get their closer.
Unless they're on a big budget, they're on a very strict budget,
but it's still the Yankees, and their strict stingent budget is not nearly as strict or stingent as the next team, let's say. So either way, though, for me, I look at this next week of time, and I do really think that it's going to be extremely important for the Toronto Blue Jays. The winter meetings are the official kickoff of free agency. Toronto jumped the gun this season, and they went and they got Dylan Cease, and that was awesome. I did not expect that at all. But this is where you really plant your flag, into the entire offseason. Go get yourself, if you miss out on King Tuck, don't wait, get yourself Bo Bichette, and then be in that closing market. And I think that you're going to see all of that within the next 7 days.
Yeah, I really liked how Ross Atkins got out in front and took care of business when it came to Mr. Dylan Cease, getting him on the board, because at least you guarantee yourself that you got something this winter. Now you got to keep it going, right? Foot on the gas pedal. I would be interested to see how far they're willing to go with the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes, because they do know they have Bo Bichette kind of waiting still a little bit, right? Like if the Blue Jays really want to go and push for Kyle Tucker, that would be awesome. I'm just wondering where their priorities right now. That's still been a big question for me. It's like, do you still really prioritize the Bo Bichette camaraderie, or do you just want to go get the big bat available and we'll think about Bo Bichette later?
I think that they're going to have their price tag with both of them, right? And I don't really think anything has changed too much with the way that they're going about their free agent I guess, conversations and approaching these free agents. I think the one big thing that's changed is the free agents' opinion of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Right.
But we've always known that the Toronto Blue Jays are a squad that has their analytics department do a bunch of math, spit out a number, and then we go, all right, this is the number that we're comfortable with. This is where we're valuing you. This is where we're at. And I think that they're going to go as high as that number is with Kyle Tucker, maybe tack on an extra 5% if the negotiations get real juicy. But after that, if he says no, then they're going to be comfortable moving on. And I think that they will go immediately to Bo Bichette. So I have faith that they're going to be able to handle both of these things and juggle all of these balls. I don't think that we're going to be caught, in a situation with our, fingers stuck up our butt in years prior, where it's like we're trying to do everything and we end up doing nothing. I don't think that's going to be the case. I got a feeling that they're going to make it out with one of them. But like Jon Morosi said, it is probably going to be only one of them at this point.
And I expect just Kyle Tucker. I do expect Bo Bichette later on to get signed because, again, like that market feels like it's still developing a lot. Everyone's really looking at Kyle Tucker, and I feel like Bo Bichette and his camp are still waiting for people to get off Kyle Tucker to give him the contracts that he's looking for and then find some sort of like in the middle, like what he's comfortable with, or if he's not comfortable with, then he might have to make some sort of option idea. So his market, I honestly think Bo Bichette's not going to sign until probably January. That's my guess, just because of how long it's going to take. Because once winter meetings hit, then you get Christmas coming up. Bo Bichette might be off at that time, and then it's January, things might pick up again. So let this be a bit of a learning time for Bo Bichette in his market, and then we should probably see him coming in the new year getting signed. But surprise me, Blue Jays.
Yeah, and also too, like totally depends what happens with Kyle Tucker. That's also assuming that he gets signed in the next week of time at those winter meetings. But folks, big week ahead is, I guess, the concluding point right here, guys. We're going to be live a bunch of times. We're going to have a bunch of podcasts coming out with all the latest rumors and rumblings. We expect to see the Toronto Blue Jays be extremely active. So if you're enjoying all the free agency coverage, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button, the hype button as well. It really helps us grow. $4 a month become a YouTube member. Shouldn't think it all of our current YouTube members. You guys are amazing.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!